Good afternoon. We'll get started on this. This is the first half of our council meeting. We have another at 6 o'clock. The first part's mainly covering items on the consent calendar, and we go on to the main thing. The reason I'm telling you that, I thank you very much for being here. If you do have a pager or a cell phone, we'd appreciate it if you put on silent or vibrate. Thank you very much for that. And with that, I'll have a roll call, please.
Mayor Wood?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Lowry?
Here.
Councilmember Feller? Here. Councilmember Kern?
Here.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Here. With that, we can go for the consent calendar.
Yes,
please.
consent calendar items 3 through 11 and then 13 through 17. Item number 12 has been pulled for discussion by the public.
Move approval for balance.
There we go. I'll second. Okay, thank you very much. Any further comments? If not, please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Item 12, please.
Yes. Item number 12 is approval of a 2-year professional services agreement with Missive Media LLC, DBA, signs of support to sell advertising on city pickup truck tailgates, and authorization for the city manager to execute the agreement.
Thank you very much. Who pulled it?
Kevin Brown. So at this time, Kevin Brown may come forward to speak. Yes.
Honorable Mayor and council members, once again, there is an item before the City Council that, if approved, would serve to add visual blight in Oceanside, and that is why I'm asking the City Council to reject commercial advertising on city-owned vehicles. City vehicles should only be for their intended purpose rather than a platform for a private company to make money. There are several reasons why this proposal by Signs of Support should be rejected. Advertising on city vehicles would essentially be like having moving billboards roaming the streets, and all this being facilitated by the city. So instead of more large billboards along our freeways, we would just have lots of small ones running around town. Doesn't that sound wonderful? There is the appearance that the city would be endorsing some products over others, which is an inherent conflict of interest between public and private sectors. Advertising on city vehicles would cheapen and degrade the overall image of Oceanside. Oceanside is better than that. A few dollars in the city coffers is not worth the appearance of, we need the money, so we had to do this. If you feel you must approve this idea, then make it for Oceanside businesses only. At least that will provide some financial benefit to the local economy. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Diane Nygaard.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Diane Nygaard. These little signs are certainly a small thing, but they're one small thing that degrades the image of our community. And certainly it does give the impression that there is some kind of city endorsement of anything that's advertised on city-owned vehicles. And I think the question for you is really, for the little bit of revenue that we're talking about, is it really worth that? I'm also concerned that I think the costs to the city have really been greatly underestimated. I don't think you can wait until signs are being installed in a yard to make a judgment from the definitions of what's not allowed, very broad. I know a great deal of advertising goes into casinos and things that might be questionable, like tattoo parlors. What really are those guidelines? If we say adult entertainment, I don't know what that means. I expect a lot of people will have different opinions about what that means. I think a lot more care is needed about what's appropriate to go on the back of city vehicles, and many people might be offended by what some of those signs look like. So at the end of the day, I think that's really the big question for this little bit of revenue. Is it worth the risk if we really assess what our staff time and effort is to carry out a program like this? And I think the answer is no. Thank you.
Our last speaker is Mike Missett.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. I'd like to thank the city for affording us the opportunity to run this program. This is a very simple program. Let's not lose sight of this. It's very simple, very efficient, and the revenue that is being produced is simply for the children and the seniors in the community to enrich their lives. All the money goes back to help to support underfunded city programs. So the bottom line on this program is to help seniors, kids that can't get involved in organized sports. That's the point of this program. The program ran for 5 years from 1997 to 2002. Helped fund the building of the soccer facility at the Boys and Girls Club, helped countless families, help get these kids in organized sports, keep them off the street, and be susceptible to possibly getting in gangs and things of that nature. In the 5 years that the program ran previously, there was no complaint, not one, from any resident of any discouragement of it's a blight or it's unattractive. There were no accidents. It was a seamlessly run program, very efficient, low maintenance to the city, high reward for the citizens of Oceanside. That's why we're doing the program. I would appreciate your consideration, and thank you. I would like to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No further public on this item.
Thank you. Coming back to the council. This item is back for review and the motion. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to move approval. The comments from the public, I understand them. I don't quite agree with them. The idea that for years they've had advertising on buses. Now, let the deputy mayor speak more to that if he wants to, because he's our NCTD representative. I don't think it degrades North County Transit District to have advertising on buses. I don't think people really judge North County Transit by the advertising on the side of the bus or on the back. So the idea, and it is something that, it is not a lot of money. I grant you that. But the idea that, a couple $1,000s into a Little League program means a lot to kids. I know Councilmember Feller is going to give some balls and gloves to the Little League that he's accumulated, so that one kid's going to get a glove. Now, it may not mean much in the long term for us, but it means a lot to that one kid that gets a glove that his parents can't afford. So I think this gives us a vehicle to actually get money into these programs, so I hope that we all support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a second on the motion? I'll give you a second on that. Thank you very much. Ms. Sanchez?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to speak against this project. In fact, I do agree with the two speakers that spoke. First of all, there is no other program like this in the county. It's highly unusual, and I do believe it is blight on our trucks. I also feel that it does recommend whatever business it is. We have, no say-so as to what those businesses will be. And in fact, when we had this program run in the past, there were a lot of complaints about it. Mostly it was Manchester's name that was on these trucks, and it was as if the city was vouching for the project, even though it hadn't gone through the entire public process. It seemed like the city was kind of, it was already a done deal. I don't think that is a proper use for city vehicles. I was one of the complainants, and I know that there were several complaints about that. So, and the way this is coming to us, it's coming as a consent item. All we did was, I thought was an RFP. If there's only one, it should go back out. I'm not really sure why we would be doing this highly unusual thing of just doing it for one person. I think on its face, it looks like there is some kind of weird thing going on based on a relationship with someone on the dais, so it's the appearance of impropriety that I'm very concerned about, so it just looks really, really odd that one person would come in here, and then maybe a couple months later, they're getting their wish. And again, if this is use of our city trucks for private advertisement, and then it gets approved. So I'm going to be voting against this. There are many ways. In fact, I work with a lot of these programs for our kids. We're always collecting money. We're always trying to get things for our kids. You know, to me, it's you know, the means really do matter. The means can never justify the ends. So, you know, this is just not something that I want my city to be doing. Thank you.
Mr. Feller, please.
Thank you. Blight in the community is kind of in the eyes of the beholder, I think. For me, blight is killing all the palm trees in an area and leaving them standing there for decades in the future. You know, there are other versions of blight. It's graffiti, it's other types of things, but as long as this is a maintained program, that the tailgates are, you know, if they're scratched or bent, that we do something immediately to repair the graphics that are on the truck. I don't think that's going to be a problem in this case. It's nominal money, but again, if it's who knows what the dollars are, but if it's $50,000 or $75,000 or $100,000 at the end of a year going into youth programs, I guarantee you we have a lot of programs in this city that are scholarshiped in by the city funds, and this will go a long way towards helping those people. As far as impropriety with anybody sitting up here, I don't see that at all. I assure you, I don't see that at all. Especially, I don't see that at all. So, anyway, I'm going to support this.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. So I had a couple meetings with staff to discuss this item, and I confirmed that the city has absolute discretion to approve or disapprove any advertisement in advance of installation. If we don't like it, we don't approve it. That's pretty straightforward. We also have 30-day notice in our contract. If we want to get out of this contract, we can. Even though it's a 2-year contract, we still have a 30-day notice option, so we can get out of it at any time. I would like to, it says here, when Mr. Cifuentes asked me about it, I said buses and trains are typical vehicles that have advertising on them, but also planes, commercial trucks, delivery vans, U-Hauls, semi-trucks, semi-trailers, regular trailers, private vehicles. They all have advertising on them. We have no way to approve what kind of advertising is on those vehicles, and I can't even imagine this being a project that would cause even a raised eyebrow, much less an objection. But I think that the 30-day exit clause is a really good item to have, and I think this is a good idea to try for 2 years. Thank you.
Please vote.
Motion approved, 4-1, Sanchez, no.
Thank you very much.
And Mayor Wood, prior to moving forward to item number 18, I just wanted to inform you that Ms. Bledsoe-Lacey and Ms. O'Hara are here to speak in regards to some different items on public comment. However, they wouldn't be until after 6:30, and we were wondering if they could speak prior to that, but I just want to let you know.
Which item is it?
It's a public comment.
Let her go now.
Okay. At this time, then, we will have Ms. Bledsoe-Lacey.
Thank you. My name is Janet Bledsoe-Lacey, and I am the Resource Director for the City of Oceanside's Dr. Martin Luther King Scholarship Fund. There are 4 of us who are going to be making this announcement very special. First, we will start with Inez, who can introduce herself.
I am Inez Williams, Council. I am the I'm on the City of Oceanside Housing Commission, and I'm also the chairperson for the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Scholarship. In 1989, the City of Oceanside established a scholarship fund in the name of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. for the purpose of providing funds for graduating seniors in Oceanside to attend college. In order to receive the scholarship, each applicant must either attend a school in the City of Oceanside or be a resident within our city and graduating from high school. Each student must write an essay demonstrating the student's awareness and personal commitment to the values and beliefs of Dr. King. They must also demonstrate potential for college academic achievement, financial need, and potential for leadership and vocational success. In the last number of years, we typically have 50 applicants and give awards to 14 of those applicants, which means the vast majority of the applicants are painfully turned away each year. In 2015, we were able to award $41,000 in awards to our students. Since our first fundraiser in 1991, we have now raised over $710,000 and awarded scholarships to 287 students, all without administrative costs whatsoever for this noble endeavor. All funds given derive from donations with no city funds being expended therefore. Oceanside can be proud of that. We bring this information to you because we now have something truly extraordinary to occur.
Thank you, and we all are following a script for a reason. We have had many long and loyal supporters of this scholarship fund with two very special and generous contributors who have previously wanted to remain anonymous. This incredible couple have now decided to reveal themselves in light of their unbelievably generous commitment to now create an endowment fund for the City of Oceanside's Dr. Martin Luther King Scholarship Fund. Their names are Leanne and John Metz, previously 15-year residents of Oceanside, with John having served on the Beach and Harbor Committee for 10 years. They've now moved to Florida. They have been in contact with the city for the purpose of setting up the necessary paperwork to create an endowment fund that could bring to us as much as $2 million over the next 3 to 5 years, from which we can draw the earnings therefrom. I knew I wasn't going to get through this. The earnings therefrom for the benefit of our scholarship fund for these great kids. They no longer want to remain anonymous because they want to encourage other individuals to contribute to this unique and great scholarship program. And now you know why I don't make the announcements. The mayor does, and you do it, and Inez at the event. Colleen.
And Janet predicted I would be the one to cry. And that may happen. There are simply no words that can be expressed to reflect what this means to these students, many of whom are the first in their family to graduate from high school and to attend college. Many students, but not all of them, have overcome the odds of extreme personal challenges coming from single-parent homes, foster homes, and some who've even been homeless. Some of the recipients are young parents themselves. Some of our students are not always the top in their class, but are those that show great potential for success if given a chance. They volunteer their time in our community, they have part-time jobs to help support their families, and are leaders in their schools. Marjorie?
Good evening. Our many contributors and John and Leanne Metz have now opened doors for these kids that they never thought were possible to pass through. The words "thank you" seem so small for such an amazing gift that will change these student lives forever, but still we say thank you. The Mets have specifically requested that I also state that anyone in the community who's interested in supporting this scholarship program can contact me, Marjorie Pierce, at 760-435-3377, and we encourage others to join with the Metzes and others to further our efforts to support graduating seniors in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. And this was approved by the Metzes before we read it, and that's why we needed to stick to the script. So this is a wonderful, incredible, generous opportunity with the only strings connected that every penny of the money that will come from this endowment that's going to be managed by Raymond James go to the students that are the recipients of our scholarship fund. Thank you.
Thank you. Before you wonder, I've had some comments. I would have paid just to see you cry. First off, we don't know how to thank you, Miss Janet, and the families here, that every year I give out the awards, and somebody on the council gives out awards. All the students write essays that are unbelievable. Most of them have gone on to college and graduated and came back to speak at that event. You always hold it at your house. So this is one added feature that we're going to enjoy. I think it's wonderful. Thank you. And we have some other speakers on that. Esther, please.
I just want to say thank you so much, and please relay to them our deepest gratitude and for the years that they have remained anonymous, and the great love that shows for our community and our kids. And now to be coming out like this in such a grand scale this is just phenomenal. Please tell them how much we thank them for this great gift.
What I was going to
Gift
say,
of
please give us
education.
a letter, information. We'll write them a letter from the city council back to them. Hope they enjoy Florida. A little hot.
No, for several years, these two people have increased the scholarships to where they're giving 8,000 scholarships to each student that we select on their behalf for a 4-year scholarship, which has really expanded this. So they've been giving $16,000 for the last 2 or 3 years, for this incredible cause. So thank you for pulling the agenda, Zach.
Oh, no problem.
And
Would you do
Lydia.
one last thing for us?
Yes.
Let's have your family stay up. These are the people that have it at their house for all these students, please.
Oh, there.
Thank you, Janet. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll continue with public comment after the 6 o'clock time
Yeah,
frame.
later on.
So item number 18 is introduction of an ordinance amending Chapter 29A of the...
Excuse me. Jump to 20.
You want to jump to 20? Okay. Item number 20 is approval of a 15-year joint powers agreement between Tri-City Healthcare District and the City of Oceanside for the development of a medical center campus, allowing TCHD to utilize the city's design-build authority for construction-related purposes at the campus, and authorization for the mayor to execute the agreement.
Thank you. Deanna, hi.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. Deanna Lorson, Assistant City Manager. Item 20 is a joint powers agreement with the Tri-City Healthcare District, which will allow them to utilize the city's design-build authority for planned updates to the Tri-City Medical Center. Some key points of the agreement are that it is for a term of 15 years. Tri-City Healthcare District will develop the master plan and obtain any required discretionary approvals, and they will be solely responsible for selecting projects, all costs, and will retain sole ownership. Prevailing wages will apply to all construction jobs, and in addition, they will use reasonable efforts to ensure that at least 10% of all construction jobs go to Oceanside residents, and they will use reasonable efforts to designate the City of Oceanside as a point of sale for products purchased at the site. At this time, I would like to introduce Steve Dietlein, the Chief Executive Officer of Tri-City Healthcare District. He's going to provide a few remarks about the hospital and their construction plans, and following his remarks, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Deanna, please have a seat at the sidebar. Steve, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. Thank you very much for giving Tri-City the opportunity to spend a few minutes talking about what we're doing now and what we're planning for the future. Really appreciate your time, and I want to give a special thank you to the city management as well. Working with them on the JPA has really been a pleasure, been helpful throughout the process, and can't thank them enough.
If I may, before you get started, could you please have the people that are here stand up and you can identify them, please?
Sure.
The audience on TV, you can have them identify, please. I know most of them.
Great. So we have Kapula Connolly here. He is the COO of Tri-City Healthcare District. We have our board chair, Mr. Jim D'Agostino. We have Sharon Schultz, our chief nurse. We have Wayne Knight, Chief Strategy Officer. We've got David Bennett, Chief Marketing Officer. We have Ramona Fanella, current board member. We have Julie Nygaard, current board member. And Laura Mitchell, current board member. Let's see, who else do we have? We have anybody else? Several foundations. Yeah, I hope I haven't missed anybody, but we have a group of support, and I think we have maybe one or two board members still on their way. Gigi Gleason?
Yeah.
Oh, I apologize.
Yeah.
Gigi.
I know it's hard, short notice, but thank you. I appreciate the introductions.
There's a multitude of support for Tri-City, and really it's my pleasure to be able to be working with Tri-City Healthcare District. And you know, we are a community entity. We're owned, managed, and governed by the community. You can see the governance structure here, as well as a lot of the management supporting what we're doing here. A few minutes regarding what we're doing. Our mission to advance in the health and wellness of the community we serve. Obviously, that's our mission. To be recognized as a healthcare system of choice in our community. This is the community that we should be the healthcare system of choice in. And our values, which is the needs of the patients, come first. As a hospital, as a healthcare organization, we always have to remember that the patients are what matters. The patients come first in the community. A little overview of some of the statistics on Tri-City. We've been serving the community since 1961. We're a full-service acute care hospital with 397 licensed beds. We have over 700 physicians practicing in 60 specialties and over 2,100 employees. And those employees, again, are from the community, working for the community. We're the third busiest emergency department in San Diego County. Approximately 70,000 ED visits a year, and we're the only level 3 neonatal intensive care unit in North San Diego County. We mentioned the volume that we see in the emergency room. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute as well. But we saw 695 stroke patients last year. We had over 1,700 inpatients with heart-related conditions, performed over 6,400 surgeries, and admitted over 14,000 patients, and treated almost 1,000 patients with mental illness as well. You may be familiar with the Leapfrog group. This is a national safety ratings group, and Tri-City has received 6 consecutive A's, which is the highest rating you can achieve. It's the only healthcare facility in North County with an A, and there's only 3 in San Diego County. This is something that we're very proud of. Johns Hopkins did a study that shows the difference between an A rating and a C rating. If you're an A versus a C, that the risk of avoidable mortality decreases by 35%. That's an astounding number. Avoidable mortality, 35%. So when you're thinking about health care in a hospital, you should be thinking about safety. When you're thinking about safety, you should be really thinking about Tri-City. Reinvestment in our community. Again, we're a community facility. So everything that comes in and goes out from the facility goes straight into the community. Over $200 million goes back into the community on an annual basis. Over $190 million in salaries and benefits. Charity and uncompensated care, over $4 million. Capital improvements, over $6 million. Community grants directly to community organizations, etc. So we really are about community. And again, our focus, we're focused on the community, by the community, for the community, governed by the community. Our medical staff is from the community. We have a foundation that's from the community, and an auxiliary. So it's really, there are so many people who participate in the success of the medical center. Just want to celebrate them with, every moment that we have a chance. The patient experience. We talked about safety and the Leapfrog rating, and really it's all about patient experience. When we hear from the community, there are a couple of things we hear about. One, you see up on the board, the emergency department. So what you're going to hear about is wait times. You hear about it not just at Tri-City, but really at every healthcare facility in San Diego and California, across the nation. But I want to talk about a few things we're doing regarding the emergency department right now. We've expanded the triage area, and we have a 512 slice CT scanner that was just deployed. What does that mean for patients? Well, it gives a higher quality image with lower radiation faster, so it improves the throughput. We're working on reducing the wait times for patients in the ED. Along with that, we were able to reach a contract with the county on a crisis stabilization unit. This is something that's very exciting in Tri-City. We provide behavioral health services. Some hospitals don't. We provide that service. However, that creates increased wait times and a less than favorable experience sometimes in the ED for the behavioral health patient and for the non-behavioral health patient, because a lot of times the clinical need is actually an outpatient setting. So that would be a crisis stabilization unit where a patient would come in, be screened for a medical condition, and then if they need behavioral health services, they would go to the crisis stabilization unit for up to 24 hours to receive the proper counseling, medications, etc., and then either be admitted to the inpatient unit or discharged. And on the other side, the non-behavioral health patient has a better patient experience in the emergency room and a shorter length of stay before they get seen as well. So we're very excited about that. Our UCSD affiliation, this is all about expanded access to locally provided healthcare services, and we're excited to say that we finalized components of that agreement last week. The Tri-City Board of Directors voted to move forward with that. We did do that, and we've already got synergies related to CT surgery, neurosurgery, etc. So what we're looking to do is expand the services available to this community through our partnership with UCSD. Both entities remain absolutely independent. Campus redevelopment. So I want to talk a little bit about that. We have a campus development concept, and we'll show a few renditions of that, and that's what we're here today talking about, a joint powers agreement. And what that would allow is, that would allow Tri-City, if the consideration of the council is to support it, a joint powers agreement that will allow Tri-City to use design-build concept courtesy of Oceanside, and we really appreciate your consideration of this agreement. That agreement went to the Tri-City Board of Directors for review, and it was unanimously approved to move forward and seek the approval of the Oceanside City Council. So the campus development concept. This is a general concept which, if moved forward with, we would be able to work on the design build. We would then put out an RFP to put together a bid package, then select a design build provider and move forward with campus redevelopment. So what you see on the screen is a rendition of the existing campus plan. It's kind of hard to see, but then a proposed campus site plan. And what you can see on there, if you look off to the left, is you can see parking. So if you go out and you ask the community, what are the two things that you're most concerned about with Tri-City, you're going to hear parking and you're going to hear ED wait times. So we talked a little bit about what we're doing with the ED now, and then we'll talk a little bit about what we'd like to do in the future. But the number one concern is parking, and patients not having enough parking, and the visitors, etc. So what we'd like to do in the first phase is build a parking structure. And before we would build the parking structure, we would build a surface lot. And what that surface lot would do is it would create additional spaces that would be used while the structure was being built, so that we wouldn't reduce parking in the meantime. And then we would build a parking structure with approximately 500 spaces. That would tremendously increase the amount of parking available to the public. You can see a few renditions of what that might look like. On the bottom left there, you can see what a parking structure would look like. We're also talking about a new entrance to Tri-City, so it would be left of the current entrance. You would come in, there would be a parking structure over there. That would then be connected to the hospital through elevated walkways and to a new emergency department, or a tower that would be the next phase of it. And we all know that we have wait times, et cetera, extremely busy ED. We talked about 70,000 visits per year. 40 to 47 bays really available right now. What we'd be talking about is building a tower that would have capacity for more than 60 stations and also 90,000 visits. It would also increase the loading bays from 4 to 8 and really provide additional space and flow. Because this is the front door of the hospital to many, many patients. We talk about the 70,000 patients a year, and it's definitely a patient satisfier. And this is a rendition of what that might look like. And, with that, I would just like to, again, thank Oceanside for working with us and for considering this joint powers agreement with Tri-City. And as you know, and most of the board members are actually here, we have a publicly elected board of directors, and our board chair, Mr. Jim D'Agostino, would like to make a few comments if you'll indulge. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Mayor and esteemed council, thank you very much. And I'm not here for the public relations pitch for me. I'm here tonight to thank you as one public elected board to another for allowing us the opportunity to spin off your design build concept. Allowing us to use design build will allow us to efficiently use our money to get the most for the community. You know that hospital is old. You know we've got to rebuild it. We have some seismic upgrades, but we need to try to provide as many of the services, especially with our new partner, UCSD, as we can. And to efficiently use that money will allow us to get the most bang for our buck on that. But what I also want to do is I want to thank you for your generosity, because by giving us this concept and allowing us to efficiently move forward on this progress, I think you're going to help the citizens of Oceanside, but you're also going to help your sister cities, Vista and Carlsbad, because as you remember, we serve all three of those communities. So what we would like to say, my board and my group would like to say to you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Public.
Yes, we have two members of the public wishing to speak on this item. First, we have John Todd, and second, we have David Neidiger.
Good evening. Honorable Mayor, council members, John Todd, 5142 Via Madrid, Oceanside resident. I also happen to be on the foundation board, and in that role in the last couple of years, I've watched a lot of the projects that we've funded come to fruition. The CT scanner, for instance, and now we're working on the NICU and labor and delivery. And I'm become very appreciative of the regulatory hurdles that you have to go through. And when you enter into a project, not the least of which would be this huge campus development plan, a very aggressive, multi-year project, the regulatory framework changes, the safety requirements change, both state and federal, and I clearly came to the conclusion that the design build is the most efficient way for us to proceed on this, to be able to react to those occurrences. So from an Oceanside resident standpoint, I've looked at it, I don't believe there's any fiscal impact to the city, and I think we'd be doing a great service to the district to help them out in this regard. So I would certainly encourage you, to look favorably on this request. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. David, I know you're not used to talking to the public either, so.
No, sir. Hi, David Neidiger. I'm the president and CEO of the Oceanside Chamber of Commerce, 928 North Coast Highway. And to me, this is a really important decision for you guys to make. It's critical for the hospital. It is something that's really going to help them go forward and improve the hospital, make it even better for us. A little history, the Oceanside Chamber of Commerce, the Vista Chamber of Commerce, and the Carlsbad Chamber of Commerce were instrumental in putting together the team to build that hospital back in 1961, 62 timeframe. And also, on a personal note, they deliver absolutely excellent grandchildren. So with that, I urge you to support. Thank you.
Thank you.
No further public on this item.
To the council, please. Councilmember Sanchez, please.
I would add excellent, great nephews. No, Tri-City is our community's hospital. This is a phenomenal institution. I'm actually older than Tri-City because I was born at Oceanside Community, just down the street here. So I remember when the hospital was brand new. Our family, and I have extended family, have been using Tri-City, and we have been noticing that it's starting to need a little bit of work there. So I'm really excited about this, about your plans. Very, very excited about your plans for the ER. And this is a partnership, true partnership. There's so much interaction between our city, of course, and the hospital, especially through the ER. And so it's really exciting to see those plans. I kind of wished the ER was first, instead of parking, but you're right. I remember driving around and around looking for parking and waiting for someone to pull out. Yeah, I'm really, really excited about this, and I'm happy and honored to move approval of this 15-year joint powers agreement, and I wish you all the best of luck, because this truly is a partnership. You matter so much to so many, as you put up there the numbers. So many people, so many families. Last year, my dad passed, and we ended up at Tri-City, in and out for a few months there, and you have wonderful, wonderful staff, nurses, wonderful doctors, wonderful, and it really does matter. All of it matters to families like ours who are going through a very, very tough time. Even when you know it's coming, you're not ever ready. So thank you very much for the work that you do. And I move approval.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Mr. Feller?
Thank you. It goes without saying it's a great place. And the people that were so instrumental in the early days, the Gene Giles, the Harold Carpenters, the Westlows, the Randy Mitchells, the Gleason family, the Pickrells. I mean, I'm leaving out a bunch of them, but those people had the foresight to do a hospital there and pushed it. I'll give a little bit of credit to the chamber too, but most of those guys were involved with the chamber. So, when you can get parking anytime after about 2 in the morning. When I drove myself there to the emergency room, I didn't have any problem parking. And I lost count. I think I have had, it's either 14 or 15 grandchildren born there. So the Williams, the Franklins, and the Segas all got a piece of that too, and so through me. So anyway, I'm honored to support this design build. It's probably the best way to build anything, much less partnership. So thank you.
Mr. Kern, please.
Thank you. I want to explain to the public why we're here tonight. Even though everybody alluded to it, and it goes back to something that Colonel Todd said about the labyrinth of rules and regulations. Tri-City would be able to do this on their own if they had the authority to do it on their own. The reason that they're partnering with the city of Oceanside is cities have the ability to do design build where hospital districts do not. It's a quirk in the regulations. I'm sure some place along the line somebody will rewrite the regulations. But for right now, we need to get this hospital rebuilt. Obviously, they're under seismic retrofit order, and so hopefully they can hit their timelines in this by the end of this 15th year, and it has everything done. So I think that's very important to the community that we have a hospital. Because I always have said that Tri-City Hospital is the backbone of healthcare in North County. All the doctors that you see and you talk to, most of them have privileges at North County, and so when there's a referral, you can go to the hospital and your doctor can go and treat you at that hospital. So it's very important with that. So right here, we're actually trying to overcome government regulations so we can all work together and move forward. So I just want to explain to everybody why they're here and that we can get this job done. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Wood. Steve, I've got a question. Highly technical. So when we met a few weeks ago to discuss this, I was very impressed by the fact that you're not going to come to the community and ask us for bond money for this project. Is that true?
That's correct. So along with this process, we're working in parallel to place long-term financing for Tri-City Healthcare District and to match that financing with the campus development as it occurs.
I explained that to a constituent last week, and I said this is a brilliant way to develop a project that we really need in the community without having to put it through the whole multi-million-dollar budget promotion to get people to vote for it. So I want to give kudos to the entire group that came up with that concept, because that really relieves a lot of pressure on the decision makers in the community who decide that, well, we may not like the idea of a bond, but we know we need this. So that's my statement. I agree with all of my peers up here that we do need Tri-City, and we want Tri-City to be brought up to speed, and whether that's parking or facilities otherwise, I think that it's a great operation that really does a service for all of us. So thank you for coming forward and asking us to work with you on this.
Thank you. We appreciate your support.
Ms. Sanchez, please.
Yes, I forgot to add, I am so very happy about the clause about at least 10% Oceanside residents, jobs will go to Oceanside residents at least. I'm hoping, that if there are more, asking for jobs, that of course Oceanside would take some kind of preference. But thank you so much for keeping the jobs local, because that truly does infuse our local economy and just makes things work, just make things better economically for our community. So thank you.
No, thank you. We strive to make everything local as possible. Absolutely.
I have a long speech. Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. You don't have to hang around. I know. Especially Carlsbad people.
Thank you all very much.
All right, take care. Please, 18 now.
Yes, item number 18 is introduction of an ordinance amending Chapter 29A of the Oceanside City Code to regulate human-powered watercraft in the channel and harbor entrance.
Thank you. Paul, good evening.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members. Paul Lawrence, Harbor Manager. Currently, Oceanside City Code Section 29A does not allow human-powered craft to operate within Oceanside Harbor. In practicality, a variety of human-powered craft, primarily kayaks and stand-up paddleboards, operate in the harbor on a regular, daily basis. Allowing the public's ocean access and enjoyment of the harbor from the waterside is important, as long as it's done in a manner that does not impair boaters' ability to safely maneuver within the harbor. The proposed changes to the Oceanside City Code Section 29A would allow the following human-powered watercraft in the harbor: stand-up paddleboards, kayaks, human-powered dinghies, multiple-chambered marine-grade inflatable boats, outrigger canoes, pedal-powered craft, and surf skis. What would not be allowed? For safety reasons, non-Coast Guard approved flotation devices that are typically found in swimming pools, such as floating chairs, float tubes, single-chamber air mattresses. Also not allowed would be fishing float tubes, surfboards, or paddleboards that the operator lies prone on top of, as these are often difficult for vessel operators to see during daytime hours and nearly impossible for them to see at night. All human-powered watercraft will be required to yield the right-of-way and to stay clear of vessels within the harbor. This is important whether the boater is near their slip, near the launch ramp, or in the channel to the ocean. Vessels need the ability to move within the harbor unimpaired by human-powered craft. On the relative scale of ease of maneuvering, human-powered craft are by far easier to control and maneuver than a power vessel, or especially a sailing vessel that is under sail. A significant challenge for vessel operators maneuvering near their slips, and particularly when leaving their slips, is the limited sight distance that they have as they leave the fairway where their slip is located. Human-powered craft often travel along the edges of the harbor's water area near their slips, and they can appear with little or no opportunity for the vessel to avoid them. The Harbor and Beaches Advisory Committee voted 4-2 in favor of this amendment, and staff recommends approving the proposed changes to Oceanside City Code Section 29A to allow human-powered craft in Oceanside Harbor and in the harbor entrance, but requiring them to yield the right-of-way to avoid all other vessels.
Thank you, sir. See the sidebar? Is the fire chief, who also is in charge of all the lifeguards, on board with this? Thank you, Chief. I appreciate it. Anyhow, public.
Yes, at this time, Les George may come forward. Les George? Oh, perfect.
Honorable Mayor and council members, my name is Les George. I live at 4513 Cove Drive. I've been a slip runner in the Oceanside Harbor since 1980, and I'm here to represent myself. I'm totally into what Paul's saying. It's very important. We've got a serious issue. Every harbor in the county has this issue. Back in 1960, when the harbor was formed, there's a book that everybody was given, and these rules were put there for a reason. When we started out the harbor, we had 800 boats. Now we have 960 plus, and the harbor is much more congested than ever. The stand-up paddle boards, everybody wants to use our beautiful harbor. It's a wonderful place to be, and I want everybody to, I have a business in the harbor, a charter business. I leave the harbor in and out, sometimes as many as 5 to 6 times a week. And I've talked to some of the other boaters that are here and involved in it, and I'm here just representing myself again. I think that there is merit to some kind of regulation in the harbor. However, the biggest concern that I have is our rental companies. The reason this all came about was we, or the Harbor District, allowed rental companies to come in and blatantly violate the rules that were already set in. We allowed them to come into our harbor, rent craft that were not even allowed. This has gone on for years and years now, and as it gets more popular, the stand-up paddleboards and the small craft that are in the harbor have, if you go to Costco, you can buy one, and you have to have no direction. I would like to suggest that council direct staff to require anybody that is renting vessels in our harbor to give them direction. I've read Paul's directions, and I think it's great, but when I've asked stand-up paddleboards, if I tell you you have no rights in the harbor and you have to stay clear of boats, what does that mean to you? And they're extremely confused. They said, I have no idea what that means, just don't get run over. I don't want to be the one that runs over anybody. I've done a lot of work with education, and I think education should start with the rental companies that are renting in our harbor, which is many. On the many weekends, you can almost walk across kayaks and paddleboards and canoes. I think everybody should be able to enjoy our beautiful harbor, because it's a great place. I've been there since the early 80s, and I love it there. But I think that we should, in addition to what Paul's suggesting, to be able to come up with some additional regulations for the people that are renting and making money off of the citizens that come to our harbor, and to make sure that the people that are on the water are safe, both from as a sailboat person to somebody that's on a paddleboard that just came from Minnesota that wants to enjoy our harbor. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you very much.
No further public on the side.
Back to the council, please, Ms. Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We've been talking about regs for years, and I really feel this is a great first step in this direction. Mr. Les George is correct. Lots of harbors up and down the state are having these issues about more small crafts in the harbor, and so I think it's great to have begin this process of establishing some kind of regulations. We've talked at the Harbor Advisory Board, we've talked about, well, maybe requiring some kind of training, some kind of video before you rent out some of this equipment in the harbor. There are a lot of folks who, like Mr. George indicated, they bring them themselves, easy to get at Costco. But again, I think the Harbor Advisory Committee is really working hard on this, and certainly I hope to see more work on this, but definitely I want to go ahead and move that we introduce the ordinance. And I love the small craft, what do you call it, the Yankee Doodle 4th of July parade that we have as a tradition now in Oceanside. I see so many of them, so many different kinds, and we do need to have this traffic monitored in some way. And so thank you very much for coming up with this as a first step, and I look forward to seeing more. Thank you.
Mr. Kern, please.
Thank you. You did make a motion, right?
Yeah. Move to
Okay, I'll
increase the
second the motion. I just have one question, and Mr. George kind of brought this up about safety. Hours of operation for these craft, the personal watercrafts, or what do you want to call them, the human-powered crafts, I could see where there'd be a real problem after dark. I mean, the idea, can we restrict hours as far as...
Well, speaking specifically about stand-up paddleboards, in a decisional memo, the United States Coast Guard designated stand-up paddleboards as vessels, and as such requires them after dark to carry a light with them, requires them to carry a sound device, requires them to carry a Coast Guard approved personal flotation device. So whether the adequacy of a handheld light to be seen by a boat is enough or not, that is indeed the rule, and in my own opinion, at times a handheld light is not enough.
Yeah, well, that's my concern, especially like kayakers, and a lot of these people have the very small crafts. It's very difficult to see even in the daytime, and then coming into the harbor at night. So do we have the ability to restrict these human-powered craft to daylight hours? Mr. City Attorney, I'm kind of looking at you.
I think we'd need to research that issue and get back to you.
Okay, and again, before we go down that, has that been a problem?
I think every harbor that I've been in a boat or been around has experienced problems with human-powered craft operating at night. I've seen many near misses. It's nothing short of just amazing that there really haven't been more collisions between vessels and these human-powered craft.
Okay, I'd like to take a look at that, but for right now, we'll just deal with the item that's on the agenda. Thank you.
No further questions, please vote.
Need to introduce the ordinance. This is the introduction of an ordinance of the City of Oceanside amending Chapter 29A of the Oceanside City Code to regulate human-powered watercraft in the channel and harbor entrance.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Going to take about a 5-10 minute break, set up some things from the outside, and we'll be right back in about 5-10 minutes, hopefully.
Ready? Ready?
Anyhow, my mic's on now. Anyhow, thank you for waiting. We had to take some little things out of priority. Anyhow, if you have a phone or a pager, put it on silent or vibrate. We'd appreciate that, number one. And I'll let my aide take over. Debbie, go ahead and explain.
Please stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Tonight's invocation will be given by City Clerk Zach Beck, who is also youth pastor for the Fields Church.
Please join me in bowing our heads. Father, we come before you to say thank you. Thank you for the privilege, the blessing, the honor it is to reside here in the city of Oceanside. We come together to unite as a diverse community, a city of different backgrounds, different beliefs, different presents, different futures, yet one common goal, and that is the betterment of this city. We come together tonight to seek your guidance, wisdom, and discernment during the deliberations that transpire this evening, and in doing so, we lift up Councilmember Feller, Councilmember Kern, Councilmember Sanchez, Deputy Mayor Lowry, and Mayor Wood. May you grant them wisdom, peace, and confidence as they make decisions that are going to impact the direction of the city. And we say all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Tonight's Pledge of Allegiance will be led by OPD Explorer Julian Payo.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Thank you. Be seated. Thank you. I want to express my thanks to all the explorers that come up here, did the pledge for us. These people give their time and effort back to the city. Through the police department, I thank you very much. Thank you, Chief.
Next, we have an Employee Service Award. Alma Sanchez, please come forward. And the City Council and any other department heads and department directors that are here, please come forward.
Good evening, Mayor Wood, council members, department directors, and guests in the audience. Tonight we are gathered here to honor an employee for 30 years of service for the city of Oceanside. That person is Kim Hoff. Please come forward. Kim began his career with the City of Oceanside on August 13, 1986 as a maintenance worker 1. Kim has spent his career with the Public Works Department and currently serves as a maintenance worker 3. As the only employee receiving a service award tonight, let's give him a round of applause, a loud round of applause. Thank you. That concludes our service awards.
That's the only one to thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, number 30 years of service really needs some applause. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
The next presentation we have is the Oceanside and San Diego County Boys and Girls Club Youth of the Year. Would the following individuals from the Boys and Girls Club please come forward? Jody Diamond, CEO. Mike Holland, Senior Site Director. Hillary Adams, Director of Operations. Robert Bodkin, Board Chair. Rhonda Guadarrama, Director of Development. And Julie Hernandez, Oceanside and San Diego County Boys and Girls Club Youth of the Year. Hernandez comes from a single-parent household where she had to take on many adult responsibilities, including caring for her younger brother after her father left the family when she was just 9 years old. The Boys and Girls Club became her safe haven where she could just be a kid. Through club programs and caring staff, Julie blossomed into the responsible young woman she is today. Over the years, she has overcome her shyness through performing arts programs and has excelled in science through the Boys and Girls Club STREAM program. Julie graduated a year early from El Camino High School with a 4.6 GPA. And is currently enrolled in classes at Maricosta Community College, where she plans to finish in 2 years and then transfer to UC Berkeley to get a degree in chemistry. As this year's Youth of the Year for the Boys and Girls Club of Oceanside and San Diego County, 16-year-old Julie is a true example of an extraordinary young woman, recognized for her leadership, service, academic excellence, and dedication to live in a healthy lifestyle. Please join me in congratulating Julie on her outstanding accomplishments. If all Boys and Girls Club members would like to come forward, that would be great.
Who wants to speak to the...
Okay, I'll speak. I first met Julie many years ago. She used to be my neighbor in my complex, and I used to see her walking around in bare feet, going to the pool all the time. She became part of my after-school program in 6th grade, and she just blossomed from there. She was the head of our snack shack, and she still has a little hand in Snack Shack. But through the years, I've got to know her very well, see her grow and blossom into this fine young lady she's going to be. And don't count her out. She's going to reach her dreams and her goals, and you guys are going to be very proud of her. The world is going to be proud of her.
On behalf of the club, we just want to thank you, Mayor Wood, and members of the City Council for the support that you've given us through the years. We've been here almost 60 years, I guess it is more than 60 years, helping form the lives of youth in our community. It's very important, and we appreciate all of our support that we get from the community of Oceanside.
First off, a couple of words. I've met this young lady on several occasions, and I've been highly impressed. And obviously, you've got an upbringing that's unbelievable from your mom.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. You're going to make me cry. She's just amazing. Oh, she's amazing. She's my rock. I wouldn't be able to do it without her. I work 2 jobs. I'm a single mom, and she picks up Riley off. She gets up, gets him ready for school, gives him his meds, because he has Asperger's and ADHD. She just never complains. She just gets up and she just does it for me, and I just love her. I know. Maybe that's why. And so she got her permit, so she'll be on the road soon. So if you see a blue Chevrolet, watch out. Just be careful, Oceanside. I'm just kidding.
Well, for one, it's an honor to be here again. I haven't been here since I was in the 2nd grade and I led the Pledge of Allegiance, so I remember being here and being like, whoa, this is so cool. And it's still just as cool, like, 10 years later. So this is awesome. Thank you guys for having me here. I'm so honored to be here again and see all your smiling faces. And thank you guys for being proud of me and supporting me every step of the way, even though I think things are hard when they're not. So just thank you guys for staying by my side. and giving me support and encouragement. It was a 4.6 at the end of my
Next presentation is Mayor's Business Member Spotlight. With the following Chamber of Commerce members, please come forward. David Nidegger, President and CEO. Kevin Widowich, Chairman of the Board. And Business Member Spotlight recipients Gary and Zell Dwelly, owners of the Beach Break Cafe.
Great. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. This is always a great opportunity for the Chamber to come down and here be recognized in this forum for one of our outstanding members. And I tell you what, all you have to do is every Saturday or Sunday morning drive down at the corner of Cassidy and Coast Highway, and you'll see the Beach Break. And these guys, they've been in town. I think they opened up in 1988. They're longtime Chamber members, 23 years now, 24 years? No more than that. 28 years, something like that. You were 12, right? But you know, as a business, they employ over almost 45 people or so. Those are jobs in our town that we desperately need, and they do that. They provide fabulous food. And I just heard recently, I might get this wrong. It was on the Food Network. Food Network honored their restaurant as the best mom and pop. It was the best mom and pop in the country. Yeah. Well, one of the best in the country. But they got it wrong. They're the best in the country. So, on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce and the Mayor, this is for you guys, the certificate of appreciation. Gary, that's for you. Okay, who's going to say the speech?
How long do I get? Well, this is quite an honor for us. We said, you know, did you guys not have anyone else? Why us? But it's an honor to have grown up in Oceanside with the business. We came here 28 years ago, and we feel like we grew up here, and we've been here a long time. It's really fun. I look around the room. There are kids here that I knew that were this big, and now they're grown adults and with real adult jobs. And it's been an honor, and Oceanside will always be a real special place for us. And we're in the process of handing it down to our children, which chokes me up. Handing it to our children, and they do really feel the legacy and want to continue it. And I had my first grandson yesterday. Russell Anderson Dwelly, Little Rad, and his uncle said to my employees, "Your new boss was just born." So it's pretty cool. But thank you very much. Quite an honor.
You know, first of all, we probably have to thank the community that supported us so well for 8 years. And so we've been really fortunate with that. We've tried to stay involved with the community the best we can, and we try to do whatever we can in order to support that. We also have to thank some of the employees that we've had for 35, 40, for 28 years who have been there to help us out carry on our dreams. And we just want to thank the Chamber and the city and everybody for supporting us so well.
Thank you. There?
If you ever go down there, you'll find out you're the last one in line trying to get in. It's so popular. I had heard, before Jim, I had heard you're in the top 50 restaurants in the world or the United States. That's pretty amazing. Top 50 in the United States. I'm there to eat all the time. I appreciate you being there once in a while. Thank you. And you, maybe you'll have time to learn how to surf. Thank you. If we could, I know we left a couple of items behind. Number 19, please.
Yes, item number 19 is approval of professional services agreement with Dudek of Encinitas in an amount not to exceed $4,942,531 for detailed planning and preliminary design of the upper and lower San Luis Rey Water Reclamation Facility, recycled water conveyance systems, and final design for the lower San Luis Rey Water Reclamation Facility, recycled water conveyance system, and authorization for the city manager to execute the agreement.
Thank you. Gary, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council Members. Carrie Dale, Water Utilities Director. Item 19 is consideration of a professional services agreement with Dudek for the upper and lower San Luis Rey Water Reclamation Facility recycled water system. Very wordy. Essentially, this is local water supply development. Construction of this item will essentially double the local water supply that we have here in the region. I'm very excited to introduce Greg Kepler, who is our interim water utilities engineer, who is spearheading this project. And I'm going to turn it over to Greg. We'll both be at sidebar for questions.
Thank you. Greg, you look like GQ magazine. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council members. Greg Kepler, I'm acting Principal Water Engineer with the Water Utilities Department. I'm also the Program Manager for the Upper and Lower San Luis Rey Water Reclamation Facility Recycled Water System project. So staff and the Utilities Commission is recommending the City Council approve a PSA with Dudek of Encinitas in an amount of $4,942,531 and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement. This PSA is for the detailed planning and pre-design of the upper and lower San Luis Rey recycled water conveyance systems and for the final design of the lower San Luis Rey recycled water conveyance system. Just to give you a little bit of background, the city relies upon imported water and groundwater for our potable supplies. Roughly 87% of the water is imported or comes from desalinated water, which we purchase through the Water Authority, and roughly 13% comes from the Mission Basin. So the reliability and cost effectiveness of water is uncertain due to environmental concerns as well as the long-term drought conditions we've been experiencing, and those can result in periodic cutbacks. So recycled water will help us and play an integral part to help us diversify our local supplies and help us meet the council's goal of being able to produce 50% of our supply locally by 2030. It also offers a consistent and drought-proof approach for augmenting our local supplies. So late last year, we completed the Recycle Water Master Plan, and Council adopted a programmatic environmental impact report and approved the master plan in February. And the master plan proposes expansion of a recycled water system, and that recycled water expansion will be done using 2 distribution systems. So the first system we're referring to is the Lower San Luis Rey Water Reclamation Facility System, and it will convey recycled water from our wastewater treatment plant at San Luis Rey to the south and eastern parts of the city. This system will serve approximately 83 large customers and deliver roughly 2,100 acre-feet per year of recycled water. The major areas that this facility will deliver water to include El Corazon, Ocean Ranch, Goat Hill, El Camino Country Club, Ocean Hills, and the Eternal Hills Memorial Park. And a majority of the system will be constructed in one phase, with smaller segments being completed in supplemental phases. And our goal is to have this constructed by the end of 2023. The second system we refer to as the Upper San Luis Rey Recycled Water System, and this system will serve approximately 62 large customers in the north and eastern parts of the city. It will deliver roughly 1,100 acre-feet per year of recycled water, and this system will serve primarily Laurel Hills and Arrowwood. And this system will be implemented in multiple phases following the completion of the lower system. So this slide here gives you an overview of the scope of the project. The lower system is basically serving the area that's circled here, and the upper system is serving the area circled there in the northeastern part of the city. And then we've prepared some slides to give you an idea of the types of facilities you can expect to see when the system gets constructed. So these are renderings that DUDEC provided us that shows what the recycled water reservoirs would look like and the pump stations. And we'll be constructing quite a bit of purple pipe with this project. So in March, we sent out a request for proposals, which was sent to 15 firms, including all Oceanside firms. And in May, we received 2 proposals from IEC and DUDEC. We reviewed the proposals, and evaluated them and determined that DUDEC had addressed all the RFP requirements and was highly qualified to perform the requested services. So the total amount of this contract is not to exceed $4,942,531, and it will be paid for out of the funds shown here on the slide, and sufficient funds are available for this agreement. So Staff and Utilities Commission is recommending the City Council approve of a PSA in an amount not to exceed $4,942,531 with DUDEC, and authorize the City Manager to execute the agreement. And I'll join Carrie over here on sidebar.
Thank you. Sidebar?
No public on this item.
No public at all. Thank you very much. Mr. Kern, please.
Thank you. We also had another item tonight, on item 10, about the brine line on the reclamation grant for our potable water system. Are these tied together in some way? I know eventually we would like to have an indirect potable reuse system. Can we tie into this reclamation, this system with that system?
Well, item 10 is, was approving a professional services agreement to study squeezing a little bit more local water supply out of the flow that we would otherwise discharge to the ocean. So although it is a water supply project, it is not a recycled water supply project. It's concerned with the Mission Basin, both of which are important pieces to meeting Council's 50% local water supply goal by 2030.
Yeah, okay, because I know we're doing a lot of different things. The idea we're trying to capture every drop and recycle every drop that we can. So I'm going to move approval for the professional service agreement and authorize the City Manager to execute it. Thank you.
Second.
We have a second.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Sanchez, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the great part here, besides the exciting thing of having recycled water and going forward, being able to be in a position to go forward, is that the funds are there, that we do have current balances that cover the entire cost of this project, right?
The cost of the planning and the design is in the bank. So we have been planning for this infrastructure for quite a long time, and we're doing projections at least 10 to 15 years out in the future so that we can afford to construct a facility once it is designed.
Okay, and your projections are that these will be built by, did you say 2023?
The lower system, the goal is to have that constructed by 2023, with the upper system following that.
Okay, and what is the total projected cost? I mean, this is for the planning, and it's very intricate, and it's got to be top-notch, and you really, after going, sending out the information to 15 firms, got to, this is highly, highly sophisticated, highly detailed, probably a handful of companies in the area, actually do this kind of work that's got to be like precise, right on. So how much are we talking about?
The total program is $120 million. It's roughly divided, 2/3 of the costs are on the lower system and 1/3 of the cost is in the upper system. So it's $80 million for the lower and $40 million for the upper.
And this is absolutely critical towards that 50%, which is something that all cities are being asked to do, is try to find alternative sources of water. Where is that money going to come from?
The money's coming from several sources. One, which comes from developer funds. So if someone comes into the city, they typically pay an offset fee, and that goes to capital water infrastructure projects. Some of the funds that you pay on your monthly water bill go towards projects like this, as well as we've been very successful in obtaining both state funds as well as federal funds, and we'll be very aggressive in terms of getting those monies that offset the ratepayers' dollars.
Good. And the part that the ratepayers are paying, the justification is that these projects are extremely critical to our community, right?
Not only are they critical to the community, but in many cases, they become more cost-effective than purchasing the water from the local wholesaler.
Right. And I'm really excited because we've been talking about agritourism and also maintaining agricultural uses, agricultural businesses to make our ag land economically viable. So it's very exciting to see that water projects include going out northeast. So I'm excited about this. I don't know if I'll be on the council in 2023. It's like, how many years is that? It's Ironman. 8 years, something like.
It'll be here before you know it, I think.
Yeah, time flies, doesn't it? I just turned 60 this year. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much, and this is exciting. Thank you.
Mr. Keller, please.
I got all my questions answered with the pre-meeting, so I recommend that, but I did forget one, and that is, we're putting in a lot of roads. I heard a lot of purple pipe. That means a lot of digging, and I just hope part of all this plan is bringing our roads right back to the perfect smoothness that we're getting out there now.
Yeah, so we'll make sure that is coordinated. We're going to be spending the next close to 2 years planning this project, and so we'll certainly be coordinating closely with the engineering department to make sure that we're avoiding those areas that were just recently repaved.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
We'll give a chance. Item 21, please.
Yes, item number 21 is approval of the master plan study for the Bob Maxwell Memorial Airfield, which will allow staff to initiate the preparation of the master plan and related environmental studies, and authorization for the city manager to process the master plan study accordingly with the Federal Aviation Administration and the California Department of Transportation, Division of Aeronautics.
Hi, Doug. How are you?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, Doug Edow, Real Estate Manager, City of Oceanside. The item before you is a master plan study for the Bob Maxwell Memorial Airport. All right, we're on the right topic. Thank you. You missed your note. The city allows the city to move forward in establishing a master plan for the airport. What a master plan does will allow guidance towards future development at the airport. The master plan study will allow the city to move forward and obtain environmental documents, which are one of the requirements in getting a master plan approved. It also allows us to go communicate with the citizens of Oceanside, which is a requirement for a settlement agreement that was done a few years ago. The master plan was actually required by the Federal Aviation Administration for us to continue receiving grants for future improvements to the airport. The city has been obtaining grants from both the FAA as well as Caltrans Division of Aeronautics. In 2012, we actually received a grant to develop a new master plan. That was for $180,000. We hired AECOM to prepare the new master plan. The main objective is to determine circumstances that would accommodate future aviation growth at the airport. The study also included a forecast of aviation demand. They originally projected a low growth, but ended up changing to a medium growth thanks to a bunch of meetings with the stakeholders. And that basically indicates that we should have 92 based aircraft at the airport. Although the study says medium growth, it does accommodate for additional development should that occur. The master plan focuses on a number of factors, both existing conditions, and makes recommendations to existing conditions. It also makes recommendations to future development. Existing conditions are like repair of the apron and dilapidated areas of the runway. Future conditions also include building new hangars and a new terminal building and other public amenities. Although the development is based on a projection, what it really needs to focus on is what is actual demand. So it won't get constructed unless the demand is really there. The other condition of building future improvements at the airport really is the financeability of those improvements. So that'll depend on both public as well as private financing. The updated master plan, because it does have development criteria, could affect the ongoing agreement that the city has with its current tenant, which is Airport Property Ventures. And we're currently discussing terms with Airport Property Ventures. The next step in this process, should the master plan study get approved, would be to reach out to the FAA as well as Caltrans to see what grants are available to pay for the environmental studies. One is the NEPA study, which is National Environment Policy Act, and I think the CEQA, which is the California Environmental Quality Act. Those are estimated to cost $287,000 and $172,000 respectively. Now, although those grants could be available to the city is required to pay up to 10% of those amounts. Currently, the revenue that is being produced by the airport does not quite cover that cost, so we're going to have to figure out where that money comes from. But again, SASIC is recommending approval of the master plan study to allow us to move forward with developing a master plan. Once that is done, we would finish the environmental documents and then bring back the item to council for final approval. Thank you.
We have one speaker on this item.
None?
One speaker, Diane Strader.
Oh, she has it back.
No speakers on this item.
The back of the council. Ms. Kernan, please.
Thank you. Doug, when we talk about this, are we talking about a master plan just for the air side? Or are we talking master plan for the air and ground side?
Honorable Mayor, Councilmember Curran, we're talking both airside and landside improvements. Airside improvements are the movement areas of the airport, tarmac and runways. Landside improvements are basically everything else.
Now, but the meeting I had with the FAA, they were just concerned about the airside improvements as far as grant funding. Is that, am I misreading that, or is that?
Honorable Mayor, Councilmember Curran, you are correct. The FAA only provides airside related improvements, but they do some landside improvement related grants, provided they are pavement repairs, things of that nature. They will not give you a grant for buildings or anything of that nature.
And so it's mostly runway, apron, that type, fencing, those type of things, as far as the grants that we have applied for.
Honorable Mayor, Councilmember Curran, yes, they are.
Okay. Thanks. We've been waiting a long time to do this. It seems like it's taken forever to just get to this point to study it. So the idea, I don't know. So if we go forward with this, the timeline to actually have the master plan done?
Honorable Mayor, Councilmember Curran, that would depend on the complexity of the environmental documents that are associated with such a project. We're hopeful within a year.
Okay. All right, I'm going to recommend approval to start the study, and so we can actually start moving forward. Hopefully, we can actually get a master plan for that airport and actually get APB to actually start living up to their side of the agreement about getting stuff built out there. And it seems like they've been dragging their feet for the last 7 or 8 years. So hopefully we can have a plan and actually hold them to it this time. All right, thank you.
Second. Do you have a second? Was it? Ms. Sanchez, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did have just a couple of questions here. Presentation, you talked about how there are certain criteria, certain things that this will all depend on, availability of funding, of course, and you just answered some questions about where that funding could come from. And you mentioned demand. Have we been seeing a change in demand for more hangars, or more of a more demand for the use of the airport?
Honorable Mayor, Councilmember Sanchez, over the past year, yes, there has been more demand for the airport. They're basically full as far as the hangars are concerned, and they're thinking about increasing their rent. So that's a good sign.
And increasing rent is part of the program. In other words, to generate the kind of funding that would be able to achieve some of the changes that a master plan would probably recommend.
Honorable Mayor, Councilmember Sanchez, the increase in rents does two things. It allows us to have more money that we can dedicate towards the airport, but it also increases the ability for APV to finance development at the airport.
Right. All right. Thank you.
Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you very much. Would you have the city attorney do the next report, closed session report?
Item 27 is the closed session report. The council met on 3 items: labor negotiations involving the Oceanside Fire Management Association, pending litigation involving the case of Yvonne versus the city of Oceanside, and threatened litigation involving 2 potential cases. The council met on those 3 items. There's no action under the Brown Act to report under any of them.
Thank you very much, sir. Public communication, I have a lot of people that are listed have apparently gone home, so.
Yes, item number 28, all of those members are no longer here, but item number 29, we have 6 speakers for item number 29. At this time, public comment on off-agenda items. First, we have Mike Withers, then second, Barbara K. Brown.
All right, Honorable Mayor, council members, my name is Mike Withers. I'm from the Matino Family YMCA at 4701 Mesa Drive. I'm the Membership and Family Programs Director there. Used to work for the City of Oceanside in the Parks and Rec Department for about 15 years, so jumped ship about a year ago. So anyways, wanted to invite all of you guys to our 6th annual Kids Need Heroes Gala. Every year the YMCA here in Oceanside raises over $200,000 to give back to unfortunate families less fortunate families in the community, as well as military families. And wanted to let you guys know that we are having that auction and gala on September 17th, and we would love for all of you to attend. While I was sitting over here, I forwarded you all an email with an invite on it, and if you guys are interested in coming, please let me know. I'd be happy to help you out. We're going to have lots of cool things. We're actually having a airplane tour out of Oceanside Airport, so that's going to be one of the things up for auction. A 1-week stay in a cabin up in Big Bear, all kinds of great things. Desserts from BG's Donuts, so we'll have all kinds of great things, and all the money goes to a good cause. If you buy one ticket, which is $110, that puts 2 military families, pays for their membership fees at the YMCA. So if you guys are interested, let me know, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank the City of Oceanside to give me an opportunity to communicate my concern. I am a senior. I live at the Rancho Hermosa Senior Community, and I've been a homeowner since 2006. And for the last 3 years, it's going on 3 years, there's been a tremendous amount of motorcycles coming up San Ramon from River Oaks Apartments. The motorcycles are upgraded to a really loud roar that start anywhere from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. And then the traffic coming up San Ramon and down San Ramon from Rancho del Oro, the traffic, they're not stopping at the stop signs. I was in the process of crossing the sidewalk, and I was in the middle of the street, and the truck coming up from Rancho del Oro stopped at San Dimas, and he proceeded across the intersection, and I assumed he was going to stop. And I was in the middle of the street, and he slammed on his brakes, and by the time he stopped his pickup, he was approximately 6 inches to 12 inches from my body. And he started screaming and yelling at me as I was crossing the street. And I called 911. They sent an officer out, and that was the last I heard of it. But the bottom line is, this is an ongoing situation. I've called the police department several times concerning the traffic coming up from River Oaks Apartments going out toward Rancho del Oro to go to work. They do not stop at the stop sign. This one lady was bringing her mother on a handicapped cart across the street, and this truck was coming up from Rancho del Oro, crossing San Dimas, and her mother was on this motor cart in the middle of the street, and the daughter was on the sidewalk, and she yelled at him, and she said, are you going to stop? And he slammed on his brakes. He didn't hit her, but the bottom line is, I said to her, are you going to call the police department? She goes, they know what's going on here. So that is another issue that has happened there. It's not just these 2 issues. I'm going to make it very short. But the bottom line is, the police department have called me back, and they said, well, they have other issues to take care of. But I feel I'm speaking up for the safety of our seniors in this community. Because when I bought those homes in 2006, I assumed it was a safe community. It is not a safe community. The seniors have told me they walk with a cell phone so they can call 911 if there's an accident, or if they get hit by a car. And I want to thank you for listening to me. I hope that we can do something about this, because it seems to me I'm not getting any action from the police department. I called the other day, and I was told they're going to send out some units because I was getting ready to cross the street, and this woman had coming up from River Oaks Apartments, was floorboarding her car, and she didn't see me, so I stepped back so that she just went right through the stop sign. And I was told they're going to send out some units. They're going to give some, and put some motorcycles there, and I have not seen anything in over a week. And I want to thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll contact the police department. Besides you, we'll call them.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Elva Ariano Chavez.
Hi, good evening.
Yes, thank you for listening. I had a couple of neighborhood issues, but I have, in the interim, I have been referred to the proper people that I think will help me. Marjorie Pearson, Neighborhood Services Officer, and also Rick Brown. So I think it'll be taken care of. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our last two speakers are Serena Reed and Donna McGinty.
Good evening.
Mr. Mayor, distinguished council members, one Thursday approximately 2 weeks ago, I logged onto my computer and Googled the following: household hazardous waste disposal near me. What immediately popped up was a facility in Vista that is open every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So I put it on my calendar to visit that facility. Upon arrival at the facility in Vista, a gentleman came up to me. As soon as I told him I lived in the city of Oceanside, he immediately turned me away. He explained to me that he was not allowed to take anything from Oceanside because they do not participate in their program. Upon further research, I discovered that the city does have a hazardous waste process. Disposal of hazardous waste is by appointment only 2 days per month. If the appointment slots are filled when you call, you will have to wait for the following month for an appointment. The program the gentleman at the Vista facility was referring to is the Regional Solid Waste Association program. It is comprised of the cities of Del Mar, Encinitas, Escondido, National City, Poway, Solana Beach, and Vista. The residents of those cities can utilize permanent hazardous waste collection facilities located in Poway, Vista, and Escondido. They even have a number those residents can call for door-to-door pickup. Residents of the contract cities of Carlsbad and San Marcos may only use the Poway and Vista sites. However, they are eligible for the door-to-door program. I love living in the city of Oceanside, but I'm restricted from disposing my hazardous household chemicals to 2 days per month and by appointment only. I did make an appointment. My appointment is September 17th, which will be 5 weeks from my initial visit to the facility in Vista, to dispose of 2 bottles of drain cleaner, a bottle of lighter fluid, and a bottle of windshield wiper fluid. I respectfully request that the distinguished legislative body of the city of Oceanside assist its citizens with a better solution, because it could possibly lead to illegal dumping of chemicals that could potentially harm this environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
A real nice meeting. Thank you. I'm Donna McGinty. I didn't get to attend the workshop that you folks had regarding the agritourism issue due to the 3:30 to 5 o'clock time frame, which is absolutely silly, doesn't accommodate anyone except seniors, and the folks who work could be there if they wanted to be. They need to participate in these issues. There's been $100,000 set aside for this program. I listened by a recording to the presentation. A fellow that does these presentations from SMG is a really, really nice guy, and he's very well schooled. The problem I see is that how many of the farmers in the city have committed to the plan? How many will continue as a company or a family if the current owners are gone permanently? we will have made a super investment only to benefit developers as the farmers close down. We may never live to see infrastructure improved. Labor costs all by themselves will, between the salaries and minimum wage and workers' comp, will run most of these guys out of business, as it's already been happening. Action steps will take years to change perception of a welcoming public experience. I've lived here 75 years and I haven't seen it yet. And infrastructure and regulatory improvements will take years to get past. Current owners of farms will be gone before changes needed are made. What about the future of farmers generationally? Who will sell land for profit instead of working the family farm? Thank you.
No further public on site. Yes, item number 30 is adoption of a resolution approving a 2-year time extension for a previously approved tentative map, development plan, 2 conditional use permits, and regular coastal permit to allow development of a 127-unit hotel, 24 residential condominium units, and a 7,000 square foot restaurant on a parcel located at 1103 North Coast Highway, Oceanside Hotel and Condominium, time extension, applicant Shantu Patel.
Only staff.
Staff.
No contact.
Staff and I have met with the applicant on several occasions.
All material has been provided to the council.
Good evening. Oh, thank you. Well, good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members, members of the public. I'm Scott Nightingale, Senior Planner from the Planning Division, here to present Agenda Item 30 for the consideration of a 2-year time extension for an approved tentative parcel map, development plan, 2 conditional use permits, and a regular coastal permit that allow the subdivision and development of a 24 residential condominium complex and a 127-unit hotel with a 7,000 square foot restaurant. The site is located just west of North Coast Highway at the old green North Coast Bridge. It's located just south of San Luis River, and we're directly across the street from the new In-N-Out. The surrounding land uses from this site to the north, you have the San Luis River, which is zoned open space. Directly to the west and southwest, you have open space as well, and also the Sea Cliff condominiums. And to the south, you have a mixed-use commercial land, vacant lands, and directly to the east, like I said, the commercial In-N-Out restaurant. The site is Zone 7B within the downtown district, which permits visitors serving commercial and mixed-use developments, which is exactly what is proposed. Here's an image of the existing hotel. The lot size is currently 2.5 acres. It consists of 97 rooms and the old Flying Bridge restaurant. It was built in 1960. This is looking directly across at the hotel from the other side of the San Luis River. And that's taken from the bike trail. A little background. On August 18, 2010, the Community Development Commission approved the tentative map, development plan, the 2 conditional use permits, and a regular coastal permit for the demolition of the existing motel and restaurant to enable the construction of a new 127-unit hotel, 24 residential condominiums, and the 7,000 square foot restaurant. Since that time, a series of automatic time extensions from the state of California and the city of Oceanside's time extensions were approved, which extended the Hyatt Place project to a new expiration date, which leads us to August 18, 2016. They are asking for a 2-year time extension from the date of the expiration. They've submitted the application prior to the expiration date, so therefore this is the reason why we're here. Also, they went to the Downtown Advisory Commission back in July 13, 2016, where they were recommended approval by a vote of 3-2 for the approval of the time extension. And like I said, this is for the 2-year time extension to enable the 24 condominium units, the 127-unit hotel, 7,000 square foot restaurant. The building was approved at 59 feet at its tallest peak. It's approximately 4 stories. There's an underground parking garage, which parks approximately 220 parking stalls. 49 of those stalls will be for the residential component, and 171 of those would be for the hotel and the restaurant. When analyzing this project, staff reviewed the project based on compliance with the zoning ordinance, meets all zoning regulations in terms of density, height, bulk, and scale. The proposed development will enhance the property as well as the neighborhood, complies with the general plan, and the approved use would provide a visitor-serving commercial, which is anticipated for the zoning district. And lastly, this time extension will allow the property owner an ample amount of time to complete the project. But with that, staff recommends that the Community Development Commission adopt the resolution for the 2-year time extension to approve the tentative map, development plan, conditional use permit, and regular coastal permit for an additional 2 years. This concludes our presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions. The applicant and the owner are present here if you'd like to ask them any questions as well. Thanks.
Can at this time has 20 minutes to speak if they'd like, or they can reserve that time for rebuttal after public comment. Reserve. This is a public hearing item. Any members of the public wishing to speak on this specific item may address the council at this time. Mayor, I see none. Would you like to speak at all for 20 minutes, or are you? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. One of the things that we talked about is actually the engineering, and I don't know where we're at on this, is the negotiation about some type of a taking of their land for the new bridge. Are we still in those negotiations? You guys close? How are we looking on that one?
Yeah, I've been talking with David Toshak in our capital improvements department, and yeah, they've been in negotiations with the owner. Everything's pretty much worked out from what I've heard. I've sat in several meetings with them, and yeah, everything should be the taking of the land shouldn't affect this project. There will be some areas where we'll have to move some landscaping and things like that, but it'll work out.
Okay, so the project's not diminished by the amount of land that we take for the bridge. Okay, and so thanks. I'm going to move approval that we give for the time extension and adopt a resolution for the tentative map, conditional use permit, and the regular coastal permit. Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. I just hope you can make hay while the sun shines. I think we are testing the waters again for tough times, and I would just love to see you succeed down there. That is going to be our great entrance to the city of Oceanside. So thanks for all your efforts so far. Just hope we can make it happen quick.
Thank you, Mayor Wood. So I have a technical question. So I remember we approved the automatic extensions 2 weeks ago at the council meeting, and I'm wondering how many more extensions are possible on this at this point.
Well, they confer. Let me jump in. The automatic extensions are actually coming to you. You haven't seen those yet. That will be coming to you September 7th.
Thank God. So we don't have to worry about that. So you guys don't have to come up with an answer, apparently. Thank you.
Motion approved, 5-0. Yes, that is a request by Councilmember Feller to direct the city attorney to draft a city council resolution to oppose Proposition 64, a statewide initiative on the November 2016 ballot that seeks to legalize the recreational use of marijuana, and return for consideration by the city council on September 7, 2016.
Apologize. Thank you. I suppose we could make a motion, or do we wait? I would make a motion that we do just as is written here. I think that it's got to come back to us for actual approval with the wording. So I would give direction that we go forward with this and ask the city attorney to come back with the direction, or with our direction with the wording.
I'll second.
We do have one speaker on this item. Yeah, Erica Leary.
Sorry, I'll be brief. Since I'm here, I'll take a couple minutes to speak and thank you on behalf of the North Coastal Prevention Coalition. My name's Erica Leary, and I'm a resident here of Oceanside. And you know our mission is about preventing the harm of alcohol, tobacco, marijuana, and other drugs in the Tri-City area through community action, education, support, and collaboration. I emailed you a link to a recent report written by Jim Mosier, so I won't go on in detail about that. I just recently learned that there will be a ballot argument against Prop 64 in the ballot that includes the fact that marijuana smoking ads could be allowed on all broadcast primetime shows and approximately 95% of all broadcast television programming. Children could be exposed to ads promoting marijuana gummy candy and brownies, the same types of products blamed for a spike in emergency room visits in Colorado. Also, we've seen coming out of Colorado increased marijuana use by youth. Colorado now leads the country in past month marijuana use by youth. Increased teen admissions for treatment, increased poisonings related to marijuana, increased percentage of traffic fatalities where drivers tested positive for THC, and ongoing crime where the Colorado Attorney General is quoted as saying the criminals are still selling on the black market. We have plenty of cartel activity in Colorado and plenty of illegal activity that has not decreased at all. So NCPC, Vista Community Clinic have joined a growing list of opponents to Prop 64, which includes Smart Approaches to Marijuana, the California Police Chief Association, the City of El Cajon, Senator Dianne Feinstein, and many others. And we thank you for your actions here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. I attended the police recruit swearing in the other day, and one of our young new officer's father came here, a police sergeant actually from Denver, and he said it is an absolute mess there, and every state around them is really mad at them for all the crime and the issues going on with the marijuana for sale in Colorado. So I just thought that was unique. I mean, he offered it up. I said, what's your biggest problem there? And boy, he couldn't say it fast enough. So anyway, I appreciate that we're going forward. Thanks.
In favor of medical marijuana. However, I'm not necessarily open to use of marijuana statewide because of some of the reasons you explained from other states, number one. And I think this is something, no matter how this goes tonight, we each can individually send a letter to the state, whatever you wish. But anyhow, that's my point. I'll hear from anybody else that wants to give feedback on it. If not, it's a vote. Please vote now.
Motion approved, 4-1, Lowry, no.
Thank you very much. Item 32 and 33, Mr. Attorney. yours.
Okay, item 32 is the adoption of an ordinance of the City of Oceanside amending Chapter 10A of the Oceanside City Code establishing a smoke-free environment within 25 feet of the boundaries of the Pier View Way underpass.
Public?
No public on item number 32.
Okay.
Move approval.
Second?
Okay.
Move adoption.
Your lights are on the clock. I don't like that.
No.
I did have, I forwarded an email that I received. I don't know if you all received that email this morning from somebody that they said they had like 15 skateboarders and smokers and homeless. I think, I mean, it's becoming a huge issue besides the smoke, so I hope we can look into it. Thanks.
Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you. 32, Mr.
33.
33 is the adoption of an ordinance of the City of Oceanside amending Chapter 13 of the Oceanside City Code by adding Article 4, single-use carry-out bags.
Thank you very much.
We do have one speaker on this item, Donna McGinty.
I can't believe I watched all of the flurry and all of the discussion and all of the hurry up and eliminate plastic bag discussion by a lot of people who are sitting here drinking water out of plastic bottles, PCBs. Who knows where those plastic bottles come from? What are they made out of? I know you're not using all that. No, I don't mean the council. I mean the people in the audience. I was watching it. The children are drinking their water out of those bottles. The refrigerators in the city are full of plastic water bottles. People are riding bicycles drinking out of them. They're riding every type of transportation there is, and it's commonplace to walk around on your hikes or wherever else you're going at your desk and drinking water out of the bottle. You have no idea where that plastic came from, and it's for PVCs. It does not disintegrate like plastic bags do. And there's a huge flotilla of plastic bottles and other plastic junk coming through the ocean as I speak, moving in our direction. And we wind up being the ones that have to clean it up. So I'm a little perplexed by the fact that when they came in to do plastic bags, why didn't they add plastic bottles to the list of get rid of in the stores? Why are they keeping plastic bottles? And babies are drinking out of them too. I'm going home now. Good night.
No further public on this item.
Thank you, Ms. Sanchez.
Move adoption.
Second. And please vote.
Motion approved, 3-2, Kernfeller, no.
Council reports is the only one we haven't done yet.
Correct. Mayor Wood.
Quick. Okay, please.
Mayor Wood.
Let's see what I got, I think. Well, I think my only ones I have is condolences to the family and a couple of people that passed away. First off, Dick Parker was really somebody who worked with the city and gave a lot to the city. His wife also, prior to this, was heavily involved in Oceanside. Both of them, he just recently passed away. Also, Jim Spearman, who was also involved in some committees and commissions in Oceanside, passed away. And the Riley family in Oceanside are friends of my family. Their father passed away this last week. I went to the funeral. And that's 3 people on the list, and I'd like to close with those 3 people in particular.
Did you say there was Jim Spearman, Dick Parker, and then who else?
Riley, Mr. Riley. Anyhow, thank you very much. That's all I have.
Deputy Mayor Lowry.
4 out of 5 council members attended the Oceanside Police Department swearing-in ceremony for 6 new officers last week. I'm going as fast as I can. And a new dispatcher was also acknowledged there. My office attended the Vista Community Clinic report to the community, and they announced that they are really stepping up their outreach into the city of Oceanside, which is great. Their program really does help us with needs that we have. And tomorrow, I hope we're all attending the welcome ceremony for our sister city from Japan, Fuji City. I think Jack's going to be there. They're celebrating 25 years of being our sister city, and then in the afternoon, we have coffee with the cop at Balderrama Park. Usually it's in the morning, but it's at 4:30, so all the seniors and everyone else who wants to go can come in. 4:30 to 6:30, Balderrama Park, coffee with the cop. Be there.
Thank you. Not only Jim Spearman, but Jim Downs is having a celebration of life on Friday at El Camino Country Club. I believe it starts at 5. Longtime resident and teacher. Let's see. We had opening day of soccer on Friday night. And it seemed like there was, I think they only had about 1,500 kids, but it seemed like there was about 4,000. It was a madhouse, and it was a great event. And then football opening day was the next day for Pop Warner, and they have more players and cheerleaders than ever before. So they're in a good spot. And in between that, I went to my 50th reunion, and I was high school. It was actually my 3rd high school, but it was the one I got my diploma from. And I was expecting to see a lot of cute young gals that I remember from 50 years ago, and the only one was Bunny that I took with me. So 50 years ago, graduated from high school, and I guess, Jim, you got yours coming up. Good luck. They're not young people at these reunions. So anyway, thank you.
Councilor Kern.
Thank you. It's been very quiet this year for school starting. Usually we have people complaining about parking in neighborhoods and around Maricosta College, but it seems like those El Camino's kind of got most of their issues ironed out, and Maricosta College has their issues ironed out, so it's been really quiet. But just to remind everybody, school has started, so actually be more cautious when you're driving around, especially the elementary schools, because the kids really don't pay attention, and so to do that. Also, and I'll mention this a couple times as we go forward, but on October 3rd, here in the council chambers, I'm having a forum with Senator Pat Bates and Representative Issa about sober living units being in residential neighborhoods. I know we've been receiving complaints and concerns about that. I know Orange County has an issue with that. So I am actually working with Senator Pat Bates and Congressman Issa's office to have a forum here to what can be done. Obviously, for us as a city council, we're very restricted. The only authority we have is land use authority, and unfortunately, sober living units are exempt from that because of the ADA Act. So it's going to take some legislation on behalf of the state and federal government to actually give the city's authority to maybe spread these things out and not have them clustered. So that's October 3rd here in the council chambers. So I will probably mention for the next couple of council meetings. So hopefully we can get people here and we can actually tell our representative at the state and federal level of what the issues are. 6 o'clock. So, and I will mention that again. So, thank you. So anyway, that's all I have. Thanks.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Thank you. Lots going on in Oceanside. One of the that I had the pleasure of doing was presenting to a group of our next leaders in the community, and this is through Maricosta Community College, the Emerging Leaders Program. I was asked by a young man to do a presentation on ethical decision-making, and it was really, really great to see these kids I was giving some examples as when I was a public defender and also as a council member in weighing criteria and deciding on the ethical thing to do. And these guys it was such a great discussion with these kids, and I mean, the hour was up before I knew it. So congratulations to Maricosta and the students that are coming through, and hopefully their expansion plans will also go through. And I wanted to add one more person to your list, Mayor. Yes, and that is Kenneth Elderts. Yes. Longtime Oceanside family of our Superintendent Dwayne Coleman. So I know I unfortunately wasn't able to make the services, so I had other plans that I couldn't break. But our condolences to the families. It's a great man, great family man, and coming out of Oceanside. So thank you very much.
If I may, ladies and gentlemen, here in Oceanside, we have an interesting dignitary group in Oceanside today and tomorrow. The mayor and his entourage from Fuji, Japan, our sister city, one of the bigger cities in Japan. And they've been really good to us. And when we went there to visit them, they're going to be here today. They're driving around. I'm going to drive them around tomorrow. And we have a special meeting later that day at Hello Betty's upstairs. But if we make contact and you see some of the Japanese dignitaries in town, please say hi and welcome to Oceanside. Thank you very much. And we have 4 names on the list.
Yes, we have Jim Spearman, Dick Parker, Jim Downs, Kenneth Peterts, and Glenn Riley.
It's Elderts, Elderts.
A moment of silence for those 4 people. I thank you very much. Thank you very much. The rest of you be safe out there. Thank you very much. Close.